It's called the greatest scandal in American history. That is how Barack Obama pulled the trigger, and Hillary Clinton tried to overturn Donald Trump as the president in 2016. This is not ancient history, guys. It goes all the way up and is deeply involved with the major cases against Trump just last year with Jack Smith, Letitia James, Fani Willis, Alvin Bragg, E. Jean Carroll, all of them. This is going to expand into all of those. Welcome to Doug In Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. I'm staying on this, doing at least one video a day on this, and this is going to be for a year. But I do 4 videos a day, so I cover the rest of the news also. But this is the big one on reforming your government, the most dangerous gutting of the deep state. This is it. Not UFOs. Maybe the Epstein case. We'll get to that too in another episode, which I don't like covering because I believe it's a distraction. We'll get to that on another video though. Listen to this. This is on this case reaching out all the way to Letitia James, etc.
Yeah, I think it's great to see the investigations actually taking place and considering that perhaps we could start seeing some accountability. I think that one of the problems I think the grassroots of the conservative movement has, Rob, and I'm sure you've heard this as much as I have, is that simply heads don't roll, people don't get perp walked, people don't get put in handcuffs. Yeah. They try to do this to our guys, and when we feel like we've got them breaking the law, it feels as though there's nothing done to holding them accountable. It feels like there's finally a new energy, particularly with this new Trump cabinet, to try to actually make some of this stuff happen, and I welcome it.
The number one comment I get is, it's about a third of you feel this way. I can tell by the comments because there's a third of the people that go, nothing will happen, nothing will happen. And as I've said, the number one reason why nothing happened for the last, in Trump's first administration was he was working with the deep state, not realizing that his own cabinet and the Republican Party was working against him. The next 4 years was Joe Biden. Trump lost an election. Joe Biden, his entire cabinet was made up of the same conspirators that were part of the deep state that went after Trump in the first place. So that also didn't get fixed. The only reason why anything is moving on this stuff, we'll prove it by the end of the video, is because Trump won. That's you and I, took the country back, gave it to Trump, and this time he didn't repeat the same mistake. Everyone goes, oh, Trump, he's going to go for normal people now in this administration. I hope he doesn't pick the radicals he picked last time. He didn't pick radicals last time. He picked the swamp last time in 2016. This time he picked the radicals, Tulsi Gabbard, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Dan Bongino, Pete Hegseth. This time he got the MAGA part right. And that's why it's only really been 6 months, gang, that anyone's even looked at this stuff. That's why there have been no arrests yet. Trump has made it clear. First of all, it can't be Trump interfering with the DOJ, feeding information to Bondi, saying, go get my political opponents. You can see, guys, why he can't do that. He has to say, look, I picked the people. I don't talk to them about it. That's what Biden said, too, about the DOJ, about Garland. He goes, hey, he can't organize this stuff, or it's just a reverse conspiracy. Someone else will get him on later. He's cutting them loose. And so now you don't get to say, where's the arrests until there's evidence. Now we're watching the evidence stack. Okay, it's stacking up, and it's going to, it is this video clip that I'm showing you here. You'll see this guy wrote a book. It is going to get to Fani Willis and all that. But just so you guys know, voting Trump into office, while I want there to be revenge, I want there to be arrests. I want people thrown in prison. America's corrective every 4 years is, if a criminal president gets into office, the number one solution is not to throw him in jail. The number one solution is to vote him out of office. So all of these people losing their jobs and being out of an office is already a victory of our voting. Okay, the number one thing. Okay, we're going to start there.
It still just seems to me almost impossible to imagine people like Hillary Clinton being indicted. I mean, we watched Trump get hammered with indictments and felonies, but I still just can't see it happening. You think it might, though?
I can easily see Hillary Clinton getting indicted. I'm an artist. I have a great imagination. I don't think it's weird fantasy either. I think it's entirely 100% possible. If they find her holding the smoking gun, she could see time. And I hope she does. I think she has done it. Not for revenge reasons, but for justice.
Yeah, I think that you're right to be skeptical and cynical about this, but I'm okay with this. I think we got to play a long game here, and we can. I think that if we use these moments as a grassroots, as citizens, not as elected people, to be fired up and to try to get people to stay engaged at a civic level and win every single election, then that's essentially the same thing. It'd be nice to see justice done to some of these bad actors, but in the end, we're trying to save the country, and them as individuals don't matter nearly as much, and we can do that by winning at the polls.
Boom. I totally agree with this, guys. The big win, first of all, is to destroy the Democrat Party and save the country. The big win is we take the country back, because all these people will be vanished from society. They will be vanished from political discourse. Their political opinions of Marxism and communism will be removed from politics, and the influence will be removed. So the American heart will better reflect the patriot than some communist. That's the bigger win. It's more important, like he said, than any one of these people. Agree.
You have a new book, Breaking the Law, Exposing the Weaponization of America's Legal System Against Donald Trump. Tell us what this book is going to reveal here.
Thanks, Rob. I appreciate the time on this. This has been my investigative research for the last year. I tend to go big when I go big on these books. And there are a lot of explosive details in the book, but I think maybe the biggest one, and the one I can share with you tonight, is that there's clear evidence that the lawfare against President Trump was coordinated within the Joe Biden White House. All the 6 major cases against President Trump had connections to the Biden White House, starting from the Stormy Daniels case, where they brought in a ringer from the DOJ, a guy named Matthew Colangelo, number 3 in the DOJ, came in to win that case.
That Colangelo guy specifically was working for Biden. He was the number 3 for Biden, left his job and goes and works for Alvin Bragg in New York. A huge demotion. Why did he do it? So he could insert himself in that lawfare in New York instead of work it from Washington, D.C.
Willis case in Georgia, Nathan Wade, her boyfriend, who was a family lawyer, had no business on a RICO case at all, was repeatedly at the White House for 8 hours at a time. What were they doing? We know what they were doing. The E. Jean Carroll case was quarterbacked by Reid Hoffman, who is a frequent Biden White House visitor and a top Democrat bundler. The Jack Smith case, he was unconstitutional, violating the appointments clause. Still, he was allowed to operate with impunity for 18 months. And finally, the Tish James's case, which not only was she multiple times at the White House over and over throughout the case, Trump himself told me he believed Chuck Schumer's girlfriend, I think he was being tongue-in-cheek, was running that whole operation. This is massive coordination, collusion, and conspiracy, and people need to be held to account immediately.
They're going to be held account. I believe it. I believe that the strategy, by the way, of the Trump administration, not the Trump administration, because it can't be done by him, but the strategy by Pam Bondi, Kash Patel, Tulsi Gabbard, Dan Bongino, is to go oldest to newest. So they went back to the oldest conspiracy that applies to Trump. And I will not go all the way back to Epstein, but it does go back to Barack Obama and Hillary. Because Epstein, they're not trying to frame Trump. They tried to frame Trump with the Russia collusion hoax. And that's where the clearest evidence is. They're going to start there. And then you watch future investigations during Trump's administration of the next 4 years. They're going to investigate the E. Jean Carroll case, Letitia James, Alvin Bragg, Fonnie Willis, Jack Smith. It's all coming. So give it time. That's my point, is I believe that the most, and you guys have heard me do videos on this for over a year now. I said they're not going to go and change election results and throw ballots in 2024. I go, that might have been last time's big conspiracy. This one was clearly lawfare, getting a mugshot of Trump and slapping him with fake RICO and real estate fraud and all of the things they accused him of, an insurrection. Lawfare was the 2024 version. You now see the Democrats' 2026 version. It's not lawfare. It's they used a judge, Boasberg, 67 unelected judges, to usurp the president by negating his orders, number one. And number two, now you're seeing it with the Texas redistricting. They're going to go into all of these Democrat areas and redistrict and gerrymander. You see the rollout. They're not going back to lawfare anymore. First of all, they're not in charge of anything. They can't launch the lawfare. Moving on today's, this is Tulsi Gabbard, did a great interview on Barack Obama.
This is where you use the word dangerous. This is where the weaponization of the intelligence community can have such a dangerous outcome that is really impossible actually to measure. When we look at a sitting president of the United States and President Obama unhappy with the outcome of the election and making the appearance of a peaceful transition of power,
priding himself on it
over and over. And
that's about Obama claiming he was going to help Trump with his transition of power because we're pro-democracy and this will be done peacefully. And all the time he was stabbing Trump in the back with these allegations. And Obama was the highest hit trigger man. We're going to go into if he can be indicted again. That's an ongoing back and forth.
Claiming to be the champion of democracy, and yet launching what we now know came from President Obama was a covert mission, essentially, to subvert the will of the American people, create this lie that would challenge the legitimacy of President Trump's election and the 4 years of his administration, resulting and affecting in what was truly a years-long coup. This is why it's so important, and I just keep repeating myself over and over again, because you look at the evidence that we released. We have to look at it within the greater context of what happened in the months leading up to that election, November 2016, and what followed in the years after, in order to understand or get a glimpse into the true implications of this.
Why do you think Barack Obama did that? He'd served 8 years. He was going out on a high. What was he so frightened of with Donald Trump that he needed to sabotage him?
I haven't seen any intelligence that reflects his inner thoughts or intentions with this. But again, I think you can take a step back and just recognize at face value, if Hillary Clinton had won that election, this would not have happened.
If Hillary Clinton won in 2016, Russiagate wouldn't have happened and there'd be no investigation and the corruption would continue. God save the Republic with Trump's 2 wins. And she says she doesn't have any intelligence on why Barack Obama did this to Trump. I'd like to hear you guys in the chat below tell me why you think Barack Obama did it. The questioner asked, what did Barack Obama fear? I don't think Barack Obama did it out of fear. But my own speculation, of course, I'd love to hear from you, is I think he's just a hardened communist, and it was pure hubris and pride that made him think, we're going to run the country for good. We're going to do this Marxist thing that I learned from Alinsky in college. We're peg the needle, far leftist, race baiters, the new DEI, all of this, the evolution in schools, same-sex marriage, global climate change, all of our favorite little issues. We now know that Republicans are evil for opposing any of them, and we're going to run this country. That's what I think the theory is on that. Here's Devin Nunes on Can You Get Barack Obama? Watch this.
What these guys are doing is like the Charles Manson of politics and manipulation of intelligence and conspiracy. People have died. People have lost their livelihoods. Yeah. People have lost their careers. People have not been promoted. Families have been destroyed. Finances have been wiped out.
He's going after the damages of what Barack Obama did. So this is for the people that say, this is a nothing burger. Nothing happened. It was just some bad emails with Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama. Nothing happened. So Devin Nunes is going over the damages. Damages are usually what triggers the ability to go in and charge people. That is, they owe something if they damaged someone. If there's no damages, it's very hard to say, hey, you broke the law and now you have to be punished. If there's damages, you have to be punished. So Devin Nunes is just going down saying, look, lives were destroyed in this thing.
Millions of Americans were kicked off of social media.
Millions of Americans were kicked off of social media. Those of you who've been following Doug In Exile for over 4 years now know that we got kicked off social media, brought back on to the huge credit of YouTube. Thank you, guys. You did what's right. I got nothing but thankfulness for that. But, and in a way, they were acting like cowards when they initially kicked us off. They thought it was okay. They thought that's what you're supposed to do to people, and they thought it was truly dangerous supporting an insurrection. Now, they were wrong, and they've admitted they were wrong. They told me, we thought you were in violation, and now we realize you were not in violation. Here's your channel back. Thank you. 4 years out, okay? Yes, there were damages. But one of the most wicked things that happened was in America, I believe for the first time in our history, Americans, normal Americans, had their voice, their First Amendment right breached in the biggest First Amendment right breach in America's history. It went all across social media. Now, I don't just mean broadcast news, but they took away our voice from being able to comment, from being able to have a channel. It's like the government going in and destroying newspapers and television networks on a mass scale. Hundreds of thousands. Democrats are angry about removing PBS. What if you removed 1 million PBSs? Because that's what Democrats did. That's what the lies of Obama did.
News networks like Real America's Voice were not allowed onto the legacy media platforms. This damage is far and wide and has been ongoing for a long time. So Nixon is not even a drop in the bucket to what this kind of 2 or 3 dozen criminals in and around the Clinton operation, the DNC, and Obama's operation, and Biden's operation, for that matter, have been doing now for over a decade.
12 or so, a handful of criminals in the Obama criminal regime, the Biden criminal administration, Hillary Clinton's criminal administration. Do you see what he's saying? This is criminal. We're going to get there, guys. Takes a little time. Be patient. Here's Julie Kelly. This one I loved. Oh, man. This is going to be good, guys. Watch this. So this is Axios being crybaby, liars, and duplicitous, which Axios is. They can't help but be liberal. These are the ones that put Jake Tappert and that Alex Thompson guy together on that book, Original Sin. So they are left-leaning, trying to be sober, but they can't help it. They're left-leaning. They have to lie. So here's Axios. AG Pam Bondi's decision to order a grand jury investigation into Obama-era intelligence officials is a watershed moment in the history of MAGA retribution after 10 years of demanding the arrests of Trump's political enemies. Is it unique, guys, in my audience, in the In Exile audience? My geniuses who are all in the Quad Club watching 4 episodes a day, the geniuses out there. Is this just outrageous in the history of MAGA to open up investigations on a political opponent? Oh, here's Julie Kelly with the answer. Love her. A short list of Trump aides and advisors ordered to testify before federal grand juries under the Biden regime. Maybe they forgot. These were all people brought in, sworn under oath. It's normal, guys. Mike Pence was brought in, Mark Meadows, Jared Kushner, Dan Scavino, Boris Epstein, Stephen Miller, Kash Patel, Hope Hicks, Rudy Giuliani, John Ratcliffe, Chad Wolf, Ken Cuccinelli, lawyers, Pat Philbin, Pat Cipollone, Evan Corcoran, among others. And wait, she posted some others in the next tweet. Top Pence aides, Mark Short and Greg Jacob, close personal aides, Nick Luna, Bo Harrison, William Russell, twice, Newt Gingrich, Cassidy Hutchinson, aide to Mark Meadows, Elisa Farrah Griffith of The View, communications aide, members of his Secret Service detail. Remember in Mar-a-Lago, Trump's his valet, the manager of his offices, groundskeepers, they were brought in and subpoenaed. Therefore, it is now 100% normal precedent. I didn't hear anyone freak out that they brought in Trump's valet in Mar-a-Lago. So Trump should get Barack Obama's valet. Trump should get Biden's valet and the nurse that changed Biden's diaper and gave him his medications before the thing. Here's Miranda Devine. I love her. I'm a new fan of hers, and she's great. Here's her response to that Axios article. It's accountability and deterrence, not retribution. Trump showed mercy to his enemies in the first term, and in return, they de-banked him. I'm going to go into that in a minute. They removed Trump's ability to do banking, guys. And that's why Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene are trying to make it illegal for banks to debank people. They tried to throw him in jail and assassinate him. If they get away with that, what will they do to the next president they can't control? That's why we have to stay focused on this Barack Obama 2016 sham. Here's more from that same gal. Miranda Devine, outrageous. Biden administration bank regulators forced JP Morgan and Bank of America to debank Trump over the January 6th or face harassment. Gasparino writes, they did the same to Melania Trump, debanked her, and Barron Trump, they debanked him. They went after his family. That shows how bad they are. Here's breaking. Tulsi Gabbard confirmed. The grand jury has just requested more documents in regards to Russiagate. Guys, we're getting more good stuff. Here's Laura Ingraham and Tulsi Gabbard.
Director Gabbard, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Laura.
There's a report tonight from the Federalist that the DOJ is actually asking you for more documents in its grand jury probe. Is that true? And what are they asking for now?
Yeah, why don't they just dump all the documents all at once? Oh, well, I guess we'll have to pull them out like pulling teeth one at a time.
That is true, Laura. And I just want to point out how important this is that Attorney General Pam Bondi, through the Department of Justice, is taking this necessary first step toward accountability, which is essential for the American people to.
First step, guys, you're all, where's the rests? We're only on the first step, gang. Hold tight.
To begin to have any kind of trust in the integrity of our democratic republic. I met with the Department of Justice prosecutors today, and yes, they are committed to leaving no stone unturned as they conduct this grand jury investigation and find the truth. Obviously, we've already handed over the documents that we've declassified and released publicly over the last few weeks. They have more questions, and they're going to be really taking a deep dive into this again, looking everywhere to find the truth and conduct this very serious investigation.
You heard the media reaction. A lot of these same people.
Yeah, they're all saying it's the media reaction says it's fake. But this is what I mean by, guys, they're going to do this for 4 years. It's going to be massive document dumps exposing the corruption in our own government. Trump's government is going to be remembered in all of history as the one that set our government right again from a corrupt deep state. He's going to reform our government to be something good again, to match the ideals set out in the Constitution, in the will and desires and intent of the founders. It's going to be set right, guys. This cancer, this festering, pus-filled boil that has been destroying America from within is getting ripped out, put out in the public. By the way, every FBI member right now, Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, all of them now know, look, our emails are all going to get exposed someday. So watch how you act. Don't go after a Democrat opponent, because the next time a Democrat wins, it might be in 8 years, it might be in 12 years. They're going to go through all of our records and all of our emails. So let's not act like a deep state. So they're being extra transparent. I love this. Look, here's Paul Sperry developing. The CIA and FBI are preparing soon to release a new batch of declassified materials related to the dossier fraud and the Clinton plan to frame Trump. Oh, and by the way, it's not even right to say the Clinton plan. It's the Barack Obama plan. Along with, or I should say, that Barack Obama was the only one who had the authority to actually green light it. It might have been Hillary's plan. Along with the weaponization of national intelligence, among other things, this is developing. Finally, is it right to call for having Barack Obama indicted? Well, and they're all saying, like, how dare Trump say that Barack Obama should be indicted? Well, they never had a problem saying they should indict Trump. This is them defending when they were indicting Trump.
58 House Democrats have recently voted to advance articles of impeachment.
Impeach him first and then indict him.
Yes, the president, a sitting president, can be indicted.
Even if the president were to somehow find some way to terminate Mueller, the indictments would continue to grind.
You could impeach anybody on anything. You can try and indict.
He is not functioning as the president of the United States. Frankly, if he ever gets indicted, he'll have insanity as a defense, I suppose, from a criminal charge. But it's hard.
Michael Steele cracking up. Yeah, insanity. Look at the lady in the upper left hand. Ooh, hideous.
You know, this is a serious matter.
You're starting to hear people talk about the possibility that Donald Trump leaves office in 2 years and then finds himself in the crosshairs of these New York prosecutors.
This sitting president can and should be indicted.
President, there for sure is more than likely going to serve some jail time.
It's clear that Trump is the target and he'll be indicted eventually.
Holy smokes. It's clear. Target him. That's McCarthy right there. He's one of my favorite minds on all this stuff. But this is back when he was still a rhino in the prison of the Republican rhino. We're still opening this guy's mind up. He still has a ways to go.
On the day Donald Trump leaves office, the Justice Department may indict him.
Now there is talk of jail time for the president.
Mueller could indict the president.
Get the president. Imprison the president, Joy. I like Joy's hair here.
For obstruction of justice.
Donald Trump should be indicted for calling a cooperating witness a rat.
He should have been indicted.
The sitting president can be indicted by the Justice Department.
Why aren't we at the target, Trump, having committed crimes to get the presidency? So why aren't we at an indictment yet?
I think there's generally consensus the president has probably committed indictable crimes.
Oh, yeah. It's very strongly in favor of indicting the president when he is out of office.
Throw him in prison, you bug-eyed freak.
That there may be enough evidence to indict Trump.
Is Donald Trump going to be indicted?
Maybe it'll happen. Maybe he'll go to prison.
Oh, the comedians. It will be funny. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe he'll go to prison. Imagine a comedian saying that about Barack Obama. Barack Obama, maybe it'll happen. Maybe he'll go to prison. Hillary, ha ha, I'm a late night comedian. It'll be funny. Imprison the president. Biden, imprison him. Ha ha.
Will you ever see the inside of a prison cell?
DA could get a ham sandwich indicted. Hey, listen, Trump's the Big Mac.
Even if Donald Trump himself is not ever indicted, there is another way that prosecutors can actually indict the entire Trump org.
We hope.
Yeah, go after the whole organization. Get him.
That the Attorney General sees the importance of moving ahead with this indictment, moving ahead with locking Steve Bannon up.
The whole enchilada, the whole company indicted by next week.
Why not the whole enchilada? Indict him by next week. The whole enchilada. Get the whole taco. Get the whole burrito. Get the whole enchilada. Get the whole nachos. The whole enchilada.
I'll pursue it and see what happens.
Merrick Garland, if you indict Trump, you'll be my person of the year.
Person of the year if you indict Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and Biden, right, guys? You'll be person of the year.
The only thing worse than indicting him would be not indicting him.
Would be folly not.
The only thing worse than indicting Obama would be not. Here's Woodward, Deep Throat, the guy who ratted out Nixon, the journalism with integrity.
To indict them.
Donald Trump is an ordinary citizen and is committing crimes right now.
Right? Barack Obama probably is too. Didn't he kill his chef?
Like the idea of Mark Meadows going to jail for the rest of his life?
Holy smokes. It's Black Albert Einstein.
But I still think that the committee has laid out that the person on top of all of this, in charge of all of this, doing all of this, was Donald Trump.
I think now for him not to indict, frankly, would cause this country more harm than even if he indicts and there's a hung jury or not a successful.
I agree to not indict Hillary, Biden, Obama. See, we've already indicted Trump 134 times. So all of these people's wishes have been fulfilled. Now we're going to start indicting the crimes of presidents when they're out of office. We agree with them, guys. Let's get them.
I think there should be no case in which they wouldn't indict.
I don't think we should be treating him the way other ex-presidents were treated.
I think the extent of what Donald Trump's done is so egregious that no attorney general
no fair-minded attorney general would have any choice.
According to The Atlantic, Garland is preparing to indict.
Yeah, there's no other, they can do no other choice. They're pinning him down. That's Joe Scarborough with Lex Luthor there. Well, this has been another lovely episode. We've gone a little long. You gave thousands of dollars to Rebuilding Hope. This is a ministry we've supported, and as they built 11 wheelchair ramps with your money, thousands of dollars. Here's a message thanking me and you, the audience. There's a link in the description if you ever want to make a donation to Rebuilding Hope.
Hey, Doug, it's Jim and Josh with Rebuilding Hope. Just wanted to take a minute to say thanks to you and your listeners for supporting us this summer. It's been a very busy and productive time, but as we roll into hurricane season, we're really not expecting things to slow down. We appreciate your support, and as we seek to share God's love with people who have been impacted by storms and other hardships, please continue to remember us and stay connected with us through our website and Facebook.
Thanks for everything you've done. We really appreciate you guys.
Thanks, guys. It was great to help you out. My audience, you guys are so generous. You gave thousands of dollars. Please click the link. Give any donation you want. These are holy men. These are men that I trust. I've seen it firsthand where the money goes directly to helping people. Link in the description. Back to our show. But we're going to continue on what the culture says, because I'm here to talk to you guys about what do the American people think. I care more about what you think than what I think. So tell me what you think in the comments below. Should we get Obama, Biden, and Hillary Clinton? I'm Doug in Exile.